Well, I am annoyed. I just had an incident with my local law enforcement, which is so weird coming from me because that is just not a thing that happens to me. I have no interactions with law enforcement, really. Um, so I was out for a drive because I was very bored. And so I went out, and it's, late at night. And drove down a lot of side roads and stuff, and it was very nice. And I saw lots of deer. I saw a huge toad, I guess, hopping across the roadway. So I had lots of close calls with wildlife tonight, but no incidents or anything because I was driving cautiously. And I got so deep in the middle of nowhere that I literally had to use Google Maps to get myself back home because I was in unfamiliar territory and it was late at night. And I don't live in the country, but the country is not far away. So I was definitely in the country. And so I'm driving back home, and I finally made it to the main road back home, but it was still in the middle of nowhere, still very dark, no lights. So I was driving very defensively in case, some wildlife decided to run across the roadway. So, there wasn't really anyone around. And so I'm driving, I don't know, it was probably like a 45 mile per hour speed limit. And I was probably I know I was going 45. The speed limit might have even been 50 or something. So I might have been a little under the speed limit, God forbid. So I'm driving, and this vehicle comes up behind me. And I'm like, okay, well, there are two lanes. Feel free to use the other. And they keep following me. And then they're getting very close. And I can tell from the front of the vehicle, I can't really see the vehicle very well, but I can tell from the lights that it's like a Dodge, probably a Charger. And, we know how they drive. And they're so close that I even flip up my rear view mirror because, I don't need their lights shining in my eyes while I'm driving on this dark ass road. And I got my dog trying to join me here. And then the vehicle's just straight up tailgating me. I'm like, okay. I probably slow down even a little bit just so they'll go away. And no, they don't go away. They turn on their flashing lights. So this is police. And, police flashing lights right behind me definitely startled me. So I'm changing lanes. And I've been pulled over once in my life, and it was for some random shit. No, it's twice in my life. And both for kind of random incidents, and I wasn't in trouble or anything. So I was very startled because I never get pulled over, especially, not for speeding or anything like that. And I definitely wasn't speeding. So I was like, what on earth am I being pulled over for? And I'm thinking, well, obviously I'm not breaking any laws. I don't have any warrants or anything like that. So I should be good. So I'm, trying to find some place where I can pull over. It's funny. The first time I was pulled over, I literally didn't, and that wasn't even that long ago. I didn't even know what to do. I pulled over in some weird spot because I'm just so not accustomed to it. So I was like, okay, let me find a good place to pull over. So the officer isn't in any danger when approaching my car, from other vehicles. So I'm focusing on okay, where's a good place to pull over? And so I'm changing lanes and going off to the side of the road, and the vehicle just speeds the fuck away. Goes away at full speed and turns off its lights. So I wasn't even being pulled over. They just turned on their lights just to scare me out of the lane. Even though there were two lanes and they totally could have passed me with the other lane. So I was really confused. I mean, I guess I was relieved. It's okay, I don't have to yell at some officer for bothering me for no reason. And I guess they assumed that I was going to be relieved that I wasn't in trouble. They were just trying to get around me. But, as I'm driving home, I'm thinking, that wasn't necessary. That was just like some weird flex to like, I don't know, because they were bothered because I wasn't driving too fast or something. Um, it was such an unnecessary interaction, and like the situation didn't call for it at all. I'm guessing, while they were tailgating me, they were probably pulling up my tags and stuff, pulling up my license. And they probably realized, oh, okay, she's totally clean, and B, she's a woman, driving at like 12:30 in the morning. So what an odd time to do this weird flex and like try to intimidate me. Like some woman driving by herself on the road who's like perfectly legal in every way. So as I got home, I was kind of like, because I was obviously when it happened, I was in great shock, and I think that's the element of surprise. People can take advantage of you that way, because I didn't like get license plate numbers or anything like that. I was just so startled to the whole situation that I barely even noticed like what like law enforcement agency it was as they were driving away. So as I'm driving home, I'm thinking I don't really have any information on this vehicle except what agency it was, and obviously, and I think they're banking on it. Obviously, my first thought was, well, that was weird. And then it turned into, well, that was unnecessary. But I didn't really think I was going to do anything about it. It was just sort of, also what they were probably banking on was that I was going to say, phew, well, thank God I wasn't in trouble. And boy, they sure showed me. And then I started to think of it from a bigger perspective of like, what should I be doing in this situation? And at first, my first thought was, there's nothing I can do. And then I thought, no, there's something you can do. Like, granted, I don't have all their information or anything, but I can definitely send the message that this is not okay. Because basically, they just used police resources to intimidate me out of the way just because for fun, I don't know. And I had seen flashing lights ahead of me when I got further along, like miles down the road. And I thought, okay, maybe they actually were rushing towards something. But by the time I got there, the lights were gone. And I was remembering, no, when they sped past me, they turned off their lights. So there wasn't any emergency or anything that somehow I was keeping them from. And like I said, there was another lane. So obviously, if there was an emergency, they had means to get around me and get away from me. So, I mean, it's not anything big, but I just sent an email and they didn't, it's interesting. The website had like no information how to send complaints, where to send a complaint or an inquiry or anything like that. And it was funny when I Googled, how to send a complaint to this agency, some shit came up in the news in the last few years. So they've had some issues. I mean, I'm not trying to do anything so much as to say this kind of behavior is not okay. And we're paying attention and we're going to say something about it. I'm not trying to get anyone fired or anything like that. But, it's so weird, right after 9/11, let's just say I wasn't feeling I wasn't getting a heroic vibe from these people. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I didn't even want to say anything, but you know how I am nowadays. My new mission is to talk about the things I don't want to talk about, because those are the things that are probably the most interesting to hear about. So I'm talking about it. And it's nothing big really in the grand scheme of things, but it's just my small part in saying, this is what we will not accept. This is the kind of behavior we're not going to tolerate, even if it's small, like when they say when you're dating or whatever, to make your parameters, your guidelines, the way you want to be treated, make it very clear. So people won't walk all over you. Not that they should, even if you didn't say anything, but just make things very clear. So that's what I did.